What led you to your conclusion of who has or who was more important in that dynasty?
Well, I think, first of all, I don't take into consideration anything that happened after Brady left. So I don't count the Tampa Super Bowl and Belichick struggling. I don't count Belichick struggling before Brady took over in New England because to me, it's irrelevant. The important part of this debate is who gets the credit for what they accomplished together. And I give a lot of credit to Belichick, one, for drafting Brady, even though it was only the sixth round. If he knew he was going to be great, Dan, he would have taken him in the first round, you know. But that first Super Bowl was, until Brady's last drive on the winning field goal, that season and that Super Bowl was all Belichick, both with defense and running the ball. And then as, they go and they beat the Panthers in a really high scoring game. I think that was like a 50-50. And then they beat the Eagles and that was more of a defensive game. It wasn't really high scoring. So I think the early part of the dynasty was really Belichick. And I think the turning point of it was in the '07 season when Tom throws 50 touchdowns. They go 16-0, come within some Velcro on David Tyree's helmet from winning that Super Bowl and being remembered as the greatest single season team in NFL history. I think that's when we realized, not only is Brady better than Peyton Manning, but he's closing in on Joe Montana. At that point, I still wouldn't have said he was better than Joe. When he won the fourth Super Bowl and they were 10 years apart between the third and fourth, that's when I think the second half of the dynasty, I think, was almost entirely Brady. But because Belichick was so influential in the first half, it doesn't even it out, but it makes the gap a little less.
But players have told me they wanted to play with Brady. They didn't want to go play for Belichick, but they wanted to play with Brady because Brady was going to take him to the playoffs. You get extra paychecks and you may win a Super Bowl. Three players who played for them said that they went there because Tom was the quarterback there. I don't know how much that tips the scales here, but they were going because they knew they had the best quarterback in the game.
Well, I think that obviously had a lot to do with it. But one of the players told me that the reason that they put up with all of Belichick's nonsense is because he knew how to win.
Yeah.
And he's winning Super Bowls. And ultimately, that's all players really care about in the end. Well, two things they care about: getting paid and winning Super Bowls. And if you win Super Bowls, you're going to get paid, not necessarily by the Patriots, but become more attractive as a free agent. Because, the Super Bowl champions always get picked apart in free agency. So Belichick was good for their bank accounts, even though if they didn't necessarily like to play for him.